Hi everyone, I'm Roberto Coscia, and in today's video I want to start building a, a startup idea, but an app in general, with Cline AI, which is coding AI tool, which allow you to build with vibe coding, web, mobile application, anything you have in your mind. Cline AI is one of the best coding tools out there. And the reason I want to use it is that because it's actually one of the most complete and because it's available um, in different um, coding tools and IDE. For example, Visual Studio Code, and now we'll see the others. So you can see you can install it in Visual Studio Code, in Visual Studio Code Insiders, in Cursor and Windsurf. Then another very powerful feature is that you can use MCP also within Cline, like you will do with Try AI and all good AI coding tools. As you can see here, this is an example in the website. When you digit Cline in Google and you go to the original website, you can get you can click to the MCP servers as it is shown here, and you can choose and install even with one click within your web browser connected to your Visual Studio Code, for example, or the other applications which I mentioned, the MCP that you wish to install. And here is an example of how you can do. You browse the MCP server, you one click install and extend client reach. Um, Okay, this obviously is shown through Xmind AI, which is a very cool app for presentations. But what else I want to show? Part of the MCP, you can also insert prompts within. Um, if you click to instead here to prompts, you can also set and find good ideas for your rule file. If you watched the good practice on how to vibe code, you must have a rule file. A rule file is a .md file generally that you can add to the root of your project, or to the coding IDE, generally is an option available on guiding how to give a good instruction to your coding IDE to allow to effectively code. And here, for example, there are some example. I actually highlighted the wrong one. Prompts is the one to highlight. Here you can choose example, for example, or if you would develop in C Sharp, maybe you could review this, copy paste this in the rule file. Based on your project, on your stack that you want to build of the project you want to build, you can choose the correct instructions. And finally, here there is a bit of summary of how you would set up your project at the beginning, which is to define your rule files, as I mentioned, to install the correct MCP integration, which are basically connections, seamless connections to various application APIs like Google Calendar, GitHub, sequential thinking, Playwright, which could help to have to seamlessly have the experience of bytecoding intelligently. Uh, Klein also has a context intelligence, which is very good. Uh, there are no hidden token limits, no surprise cutoff, just transparent resource usage. And terminal mastery. Klein execute commands, reads outputs, and debugs error directly in your terminal. So let's go and have a look exactly to see how it works. So now you might have seen, this is Visual Studio Code. You can either install Cline, just the digit in Cline, and then you will see it here. Then you can click install and you can install it. And then you will see the icon, which is this one, displaying once you install it. Here you see different options that you can see and try. You can add new tasks. You can set up the MCPs even from here within Visual Studio Code. You can check the history of the prompts you've done. You can open in editor the client. You can set up your account with the credits. If you don't have credits, you can add credits here, which will link you to the website where you can add credits. And then based on the model you use, you will pay the token, use the token, the credits, based on the API cost. And finally, the settings. You can see that here there are all the settings. You can have the general, you can set the language by default, the features, which is good idea to leave by default, but you can modify if you wish. The terminal information and API configuration, which model you want to use. We are using GPT-5 for the moment. You can change it here if you wish. You don't have to. And that's it. Once you finish, you can click done. You can also set auto approve to on if you wish to have to let the agent not to have less control. You can set up which type of auto approve, read, in edit, etc, etc, etc. Then you can set up when you want to write a prompt, you can set to create a plan or an action. Plan, maybe you want to create tasks. Maybe you want to add context. If you create a new project, maybe you want to have context if you already have a project you want to start from. Or you can add images. It allows you to use images and files. You can manage the MCP servers. You can maybe install one in from here. You can see that you can go back to the MCP to configure, to install, also from here, and you can manage the rules workflow. It's here that you would probably edit the file. You can see that there is a default one, but for a project you would need to set up yours. Generally, I advise you to use the cursor rules, um, which brings you to the cursor directory in Google. You can then, if you have an idea of a project you want to build, for example, in Next.js, you can digit Next.js. Then you can see what project fit mostly with your idea of the app, and you can probably copy it. For example, if I copy this, then I go to my project, then paste. This can be a good fit for the project. A good idea is generally to review what is written and modify uh, as you see fit it. Now you should be near the end because you set up the rules, the global rules. You can also set up the workspace rules. So this is the global. If you have a project-based rules, you can also add them here. Um, so you may have a global information about how to behave, the general best practices to use, which is already written here for you. But maybe you have specific rules for the project. This is always advised to add it, and to be very careful on the way you write it. but the rules are kind of similar in the structure. You can, to write your workspace and project rules, you can use ChatGPT to help you write it. Maybe you can even ask to write a workspace rule for Cline, relate to project that where I want to build event scraper for the region of Apulia in Italy to scrape events from websites using the search mode agent AI. You can write basically, you can select the city, you can select the category of the event you want to search, and then the agent will find the events and list them for you. Or through, for example, Google Drive, if you want to manually set those events. You can basically add the rules on how to behave, how the applications should behave and prefer. This having this both rules in your project will allow to get as far as you can and successfully to the end of the project, instead of getting errors due by the AI thinking wrongly and finding difficult solution to easy problems, if that would summarize. So use the cursor rules. And then once you complete all of this, you maybe can start with the planning. Uh, First rule is to go to ChatGPT, start defining the project, the idea of the project, maybe the project definition, to write it down very well, understand, refine it. And when you are sure that the project definition is perfectly done, then you can define the plan, the tasks that you might want to start working on. And then you can move to the act side, which will complete the task in the order you created them on. So make sure the order the task is correctly. Make sure the tasks are done, are not too heavy. Focus on one problem, one at a time. And this is and make sure you already figure out how to solve the complexity of your application in advance. So make your thinking process at the beginning. Don't deliver all the AI. This, otherwise, you will find out later to have solved the problem in a wrong way, and you might have to restart the Blip project from scratch or a specific feature totally from scratch. Well, I went through the best practice with you based on my experience on building web application for now, but with the idea simply to guide you with a tutorial on Cline AI and how it works. Um, next, probably in the next video, we will go through a project which I will start with this best practice. We will build a startup, an application from scratch, from zero to deployed web application, totally with clients. So stay tuned. Consider to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if there is anything, any advice on top of what I already given that could improve the success rate of your project. And let me know how did you find yourself working on Cline, and if you have ideas on other coding tools which can be better than Cline, and Augment Code, which I tested a lot. I'm really curious to know your thoughts, and that's it for now. See you in the next video.